Strange Magic, written by Suzana Thompson, narrated by Sarah Sampino. Chapter 3. In English class, I started to get an inkling of why Mandy had broken up with Brad. It was obvious that she had set her sights on Duncan. It was also obvious that he was not opposed to her attention. I sat numbly and watched her toss her blonde hair back and smile coyly at him. She asked to borrow a pen from him. Then she pulled out her skirt and drew his eyes to her shapely legs. Duncan ignored me almost the entire class, which left me free to observe his reaction to Mandy. This helped to distract me from what had happened between us that morning.
"She's the kind of girl I need,"
Duncan said.
"Someone who is normal and uncomplicated. I don't need any more complications in my life."
It was happening again. I knew that he wasn't talking to me. I knew that it was some kind of auditory hallucination. Instead of hearing voices, I was hearing only one voice. I knew it wasn't real. I still wanted to clap my hands over my ears, even though I knew it wouldn't help. I tried to keep my focus on Mr. Gates, but my eyes were drawn to Duncan. I turned to see him glaring at me.
"Stay out of my head, Suzannah."
My eyes widened. He hadn't spoken aloud, yet I had heard him, and he knew it. "Am I really hearing your thoughts?" I spoke the words in my mind.
"I told you to drop the innocent act."
Duncan shot back at me.
"I see right through you."
Anger sparked within me. "I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't done anything to you." Duncan smiled thinly.
"And I'm going to keep it that way."
"Duncan, this is incredible. We can talk to each other through our thoughts. How is this possible? I thought I was going crazy."
"That was impressive,"
Duncan said.
"I almost believed that you were really falling apart. I would have taken the bait if I hadn't dealt with your kind before."
I stared at him. My kind? Duncan must have realized that we'd held eye contact too long. Other people would think it was weird. He moved his gaze back to Mandy, but his words continued in my mind.
"This time, I'm going for normal."
Then I was left alone with my own thoughts. My mind was reeling from this new discovery. At least now I was fairly certain that I was still sane. Other than that, my world had been turned upside down. I was startled by the sound of the bell. Duncan and Mandy walked out together as I slowly gathered my books. I was now on autopilot. It was the only way I could make it through the rest of the day. Caitlin watched me with a worried expression on her face as I tried to make small talk. "You should eat something." I managed a smile. "Since when did you turn into my mother?" "I'm serious," Caitlin said. "When was the last time you ate?" I thought about it. "Yesterday morning, I had cereal." Caitlin looked at me incredulously. "You should be starving by now." I shrugged. "I'm just not hungry. Anyway, I've got the scoop. Mandy is totally after Duncan." Caitlin pursed her lips. I ignored her disapproval. "I saw it with my own eyes. It was Seduction 101. She's got some killer moves." Caitlin sighed. "Oh, Susie, that should be you. Don't give up." "There are other fish in the sea. Maybe I'll go comfort Brad." My attempt at being flip fell flat. I had to change the subject. I began to engage Caitlin in conversation about her date with Alex. She realized that this was a good distraction for me. They were going to a movie, and we debated which outfit she should wear. Normally, Caitlin drove me home from school. It turned out that she had forgotten about a dentist appointment that afternoon. Her mom was coming to sign her out early. Then Caitlin was driving herself to the dentist. "At least my mouth will be extra clean. If Alex doesn't kiss me, I'm going to kiss him." This got a genuine laugh out of me. "Caitlin? What? It's our second date, and I'm a modern woman." "That you are." I smiled at her affectionately. As the bell rang, she grabbed my arm. "We'll talk tomorrow." She gave me a meaningful look. "Yes," I said. "I promise." As the afternoon wore on, I began to feel seriously lightheaded. The day was almost over, and I had no intention of going to the nurse again. Even taking the bus home was a better option than calling my mom to pick me up sick 2 days in a row. The last thing I needed was for her to fuss over me all weekend. Caitlin and I would require privacy for what was going to be the biggest talk we'd ever had. It would probably test even Caitlin's open mind. When the last bell rang, I left all my books in my locker. Hopefully, Mr. Gates wouldn't have a pop quiz on Monday. There was no way I was going to be doing any studying this weekend. I followed the throng of students toward the exit doors. I felt like I was walking on the moon. The wall was too far away, and there was nothing to hold on to. My head was spinning as I began to sway on my feet. No, I thought as I lost my balance. Someone steadied me. He felt solid and strong. I leaned against him.
Can you make it?
I heard his voice. I thought maybe he had spoken aloud this time. Yes, I said weakly. I have to get to bus C. He helped me outside and lowered me onto a bench.
Wait here.
I tried to get up after he left, but I sank back down. He pulled up in a gray car. I leaned on him as he led me to the passenger seat. By this time, I was starting to feel a little stronger. I caught my breath as Duncan leaned over me to fasten my seatbelt. He stilled, and his gaze captured mine. An expression I couldn't name flitted across his face. Then he pulled away and closed the door. He got into the driver's seat and turned on the ignition.
Chestnut Avenue, you said. You'll have to tell me where to turn.
Oh, I said. You don't have to drive me. I'll take the bus.
The bus is gone,
Duncan said as he put the car in drive.
I'll take you home.
Thanks. I'm sorry to be so much trouble. Duncan's jaw clenched. He stared straight ahead at the road.
Is that why you've gone to such great lengths to play the damsel in distress?
What do you mean? I got dizzy. I didn't even know you were there.
You called me.
Duncan's voice cut like a knife. I did not, I said indignantly. I don't even have your number.
Damn it, Suzana,
Duncan exploded.
You know what I mean.
I gaped at him with my mouth open. Called him? His pale blue eyes slid toward me. He laughed derisively.
Another Academy Award-worthy performance. You called me to make sure I would be there to rescue you. That was no pretend fainting spell, though. What'd you do? Not eat for a while?
I was sick. I couldn't eat anything. I watched his hands gripping the steering wheel. I don't know why you think I'm lying to you, and I don't know why you're saying those things, but I never called you. I would have remembered that.
It was your voice,
Duncan said.
I'd know it anywhere.
He drove in silence then, as I gave him the directions to my house. I felt much better, but he insisted on walking me to my door. I thanked him for the ride.
Don't do this again, Suzana. I mean it.
He strode to his car and drove off. I went to my room and got into bed. Weariness overtook me, and I fell into a dreamless sleep.